StraightallDay.com. You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that, Dre? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is 3 ways to boost your status. If you want to step your status up, you want to be more known, you want to be more recognized, maybe make yourself a more notable individual in a particular space. Today I'm going to tell you how to do so. But before we get started, let me remind everyone that every morning I send out a text message free of charge to everybody in my text community. This message is guaranteed to keep you focused, or at least have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. You want to receive this message, and why would you not? Text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894, and every morning when I send out the daily motivation, you shall receive that message free of charge every single day. Secondly, Work on Your Game University is the place where you go to work with me directly. That's the only place you can be coached by me, the only place you can get into my mastermind groups, the only place you can get access to all the frameworks and courses and programs on mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability and execution that I teach and will walk you through personally for your business and your personal life. All of that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Now, getting into today's topic, which is 3 ways to boost your status. Any of you who wants to increase your status, step your status up again, step your notoriety up in what you do, this episode is going to tell you how to do it. First of all, let's define what status is. Status is the relative social, professional, or other standing of someone or something. Now understand, while we are not all in our egos about having higher status than others, we do understand that on a practical level, when you have a higher level of status than what you had before, it's easier to achieve success. Why? Because usually you get more opportunities because of your status than when you don't have status, or when you have more status. Usually you have opportunities coming your way unsolicited that you don't have to go look for or campaign for. They just come your way because you're known already. And people tend, when you have status, they tend to show up predetermined to say yes to you, all because of your status. All right, so wouldn't this help you? I think so. So since you agree with me, let's talk about how to boost your status in whatever you do, because this will make your job a whole lot easier. Doesn't mean you won't still work, but your job will be easier. Point number 1. Topic once again today is 3 ways to boost your status. Number 1, authority. Number 1 way to boost your status is to increase your level of authority. What's the definition of authority? It is the power or right to give orders, make decisions, or enforce obedience. Understand that similar to leadership, authority is not given, authority is taken. If you want to be a person of authority, you cannot be handed authority. You are not handed authority because you have a college degree, or you have some letters before or after your name, or because you have a certain number of followers on social media, or anything else that you would consider to be one of the trappings of success, either that you have or that you are aspiring to have. Authority is something that is taken. You must assume authority. Again, the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. You must assume this position to be in a position of authority. So you decide that you have authority. Once you decide, other people will go along with it and agree with you. That's it. That's how it works. That's how authority works. Now, some of you who have done a lot of work to, for example, build your name up, build your brand up, achieve certain credentials, this may alarm you or annoy you or bother you in some ways. And I'm saying authority is just simply assumed by a person assuming that they have it, rather than the actual logical or factual things that you have achieved. This is the way that the game is played. But understand, we're not done. We're only on point number 1 here. I remember I was in a Toastmasters meeting years ago, and I was explaining how you are an expert on the subject as soon as you assume and you decide that you're an expert and you declare yourself an expert. That's what makes you an expert. And there was a guy in the room who raised his hand and said, well, it's dangerous for people to just call themselves experts at something when they haven't actually done the work, because they might tell you some nonsense. And I said, well, so that's pretty much the way that it works. Now, this guy who raised his hand and challenged me, there's a reason why he challenged me, because he was a lawyer. And he's a lawyer who had been in the game. He's probably my parents' age. So, and I know who he is. And he probably was, he didn't say this in so many words, but I would assume, my theory is he was annoyed by the fact that I said that, because he, as a lawyer, had to go to how many years of school, took on how much student loan debt, and how many years of study and training and practice in order to get to that position of authority, because he was a lawyer. And then me just saying, well, somebody can just call themselves an authority without having to do all the work that you did, that probably bothered him in some way. It probably, just hit him in a sore spot in some ways. So any of you who are doctors, or any of you who has certain credentials, or any of you who has achieved certain levels, you may listen to the same point and it may bother you in the same way. Well, don't shoot the messenger. This is how it works. This is how authority works. Authority is assumed. In the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can, any of you saw that movie, one of the things that Leo DiCaprio did for an entire semester at a college, he impersonated being a college professor, and the students all went along with it. None of them assumed, none of them ever suspected that he was not actually a professor. How was he able to do it? He said, well, I just read one chapter ahead of all the rest of the students in the class, so I knew more than they knew. So therefore, and because of the way he presented himself, his posture, they respected his authority that he assumed. He assumed his authority. He was not given authority, he assumed his authority. So if you're waiting for someone to hand you authority, you're gonna be waiting for a long time. So think about a doctor or a dentist or an auto mechanic. Most of the time they're talking to customers or clients who don't know nearly as much as they do. And their customers and clients are trusting the expert with their body, their teeth, and their vehicle, right? So the doctor, dentist, and mechanic usually doesn't ask you what you want to do. They may ask you, but they'll usually only give you a few options. They'll tell you what you are going to do, and they'll tell you what's going to happen. Why? Because they have the authority, and because of that authority, you agree with them and ask them, okay, how long is this going to take? How much do I have to pay? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to be any pain? What do we have to do next? That is authority. All right, you can assume this position of authority anytime that you want, but understand the key to being in a position of authority, everyone, is not, again, your credentials. It is not what school you went to. It is not how many degrees you have. It's not how much money you made. It's not how many happy customers you have served. None of those things are the key to authority. The key to authority is your belief that everybody else should believe your authority. It's your posture. That's what we call posture. When you have the posture of being a person of authority, then people will follow you and listen to you, and it doesn't really matter if you actually have anything real behind it or not. And this is, some of you may consider that to be scary, some of you may think it's dangerous. You call it whatever the hell you want. I'm telling you, it's true. And if you want to learn about posture, listen to episode 1411, titled Fix Your Posture. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is 3 ways to boost your status. Number 2 is celebrity. Celebrity is a status booster. You want to raise your status in any space, just increase your level of celebrity. Definition of celebrity is a famous person. So celebrity is relative. Fame is relative. Understand, you don't have to be famous to everybody in the world. You don't have to be so famous that you can't go to the mall or the grocery store by yourself. Not that level of fame, necessarily. You could be that, you don't have to be that. But you can be famous in your particular space. So you could be a famous auto mechanic. You could be a famous dentist or a famous doctor, even though the average person has no idea who the hell you are. You are famous to other people in that space, and that increases your status in that space, because that's the space where you're operating anyway. So go back to the example that I talked about, point number 1. Let's say you're recognized as one of the top dentists in America. Now, the average person doesn't know you're one of the top dentists in America, because they don't care, because the average person goes to the dentist, what? I don't know how often the average person goes. I go to the dentist twice a year, unless there's an emergency. If I go more than twice a year, something went wrong. And other people may go once a year, some people don't go at all. All right, so most people are not thinking about dentists on a daily basis. But if you're recognized as one of the top dentists in America, in your neighborhood, you're an everyday person. You're out walking a dog, nobody cares who you are, nobody knows. But when you go to the National Dentist Convention, whatever that happens to be called, you are getting mobbed at the registration table. Why? Because there, in that space, you are famous to those people, the other dentists. They all know that you're the guy or the girl. But outside of there, as soon as you walk out of that convention, nobody knows who you are and nobody cares. So the question for you is, in what space do you want to be famous? If you want to be famous, because this will help increase your status. Where do you want to be famous at? Whatever space you are famous in, you have status in that space. Again, the dentist he has status inside of the dentist convention, but he doesn't have any status as soon as he leaves and he goes to the local Walmart. Nobody knows who he is inside of Walmart, but they do know who he is inside of the dentist convention exhibit hall. So for example, I played college basketball. Now, because of the relative size of a basketball team, it's about 12 to 15 people, compared to the size of a college campus, which is thousands of people, combined with the recognition that sports teams generate, specifically the basketball team on most college campuses. Being on the basketball team gives you a certain amount of status because of the celebrity that comes with being one of only 15 people on a campus of thousands of people who all know about the basketball team. Now again, you could be on the science team. It might be only 20 people on the science team too, but does the science team have relative, do they gather the attention that the sports teams do? Usually no. So it's a combination of three things: the relative size of the group you're a part of, where you have the relative size of the group that gives you the celebrity. Then it's the big group, what percentage of the big group are you all, and then how much attention does that group actually garner. So those three things combined gave me status, celebrity status, as a college athlete. Any of you who played a college sport, you probably experienced that same level of celebrity simply because there's only so many people who get to be on the team, and people know about the team. You're on the team, and ain't that many people, and there's a whole bunch of students, but only a few players. So that gives you status. So you get celebrity because of your position. So you, and anything you're doing, even if you're not playing sports, you're not in college anymore, you want to create celebrity in your environments, and here's where you start. You start with your own audience. First of all, you need to be a celebrity to your own audience. Any of you who's in the thought leadership space, you should be a celebrity to the people who are in your audience. You should be a celebrity to your customers. You should be a celebrity to your clients and a celebrity to your fans. What does that mean, being a celebrity to them? That means the fact that they get to work with you directly, the fact they get to deal with you, the fact they get to come to your event, the fact they get to meet you, the fact they get to have a conversation with you should be more valuable to them than if they were just talking to some regular person that they don't know. All right, they should be excited to talk to you because they get to talk to you, Y-O-U in all capital letters. Your presence, when you're talking to people who know of you, should increase the value of that conversation because they know who you are. All right, when you're in the room with people who already know who you are, especially if you're in the thought leadership space with your customers and your clients, your presence alone should increase the value of the room just because you're in the room. Why? Because they already know who you are, they've already bought into you, and it's a big deal to be in the same room as you. Again, your fans should have this feeling about you because you should be cultivating this on a consistent basis with the material that you're putting out to your audience. If your own fans don't feel this way about you, well, then you got some work to do on building your brand and getting yourself known. Those of you who have fans and audiences, and if you're doing something along the lines of this parallel to what I do, you should be a celebrity to people in your audience. They should be looking at you like, wow, I get to talk to this person. All right, that's a big deal. That should be a big deal to them. All right, moving on. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to increase your status. Number 3, credibility. Now this is a bone I'm going to throw back to. I took a bone away from you all with the letters before and after your names at the beginning of this episode, and now I'm going to give that bone back to you on the topic of credibility. Definition of credibility is quality of being trusted and believed in. Now, credibility is not the same as credentials, but they are related. They are cousins. Credentials is PhD, MD, I don't know what's other, ESQ, whatever other things you can get. And in certain spaces, you can get certain letters after your name based on that industry and whatever you're doing. So any of you who has letters before or after your name based on some things that you have accomplished or some ladder that you climbed or some degree that you have acquired, those things give you credentials, which is related to credibility. Now, those credentials matter definitely in your space because everybody else in your space is trying to get those same credentials, or they want them, or they respect them because they know what they mean. Now, somebody outside of your space might care and they might not. So, for example, I meet somebody who is a doctor. All right, I recognize, okay, that must mean you went to, not must mean, but definitely means you went to medical school. You have the actual doctorate title. You went to medical school, you passed, you got a doctorate degree. And I know there's a lot of work that goes behind doing something like that. Now, does it really matter that much to me personally? No, because I'm not in the medical space. I don't work in the medical field. And you all heard my story about the birth of my son, what I had to say about the medical industry, the system itself, not the people who work there, but the system itself. If you want to hear that, let me tell you what episode that was. And if you didn't hear it, that was episode 2338, the trash that is the American medical system. So if you want to hear about that, again, it's not trashing the people, it's trashing the system. But people who work in that industry, they absolutely respect the person with the titles because look, that's the hierarchy. That's the chain of command inside of that space. Or you look at the law enforcement system. You got the lieutenants, you got the sergeants, you got the captains, you got the whatever other titles there are in there. People want to know those titles because those titles tell them, all right, who they got to listen to, who they don't have to listen to. that chain of command matters a lot when you're working inside of certain systems. So those credentials play a big role in your credibility, but I'm talking about credibility in general here, not necessarily in a specific space. But any of you who works in a specific space, you already inherently understand this, and you better understand it, because your job could depend on it. You respecting the credentials of the right person at the right time, or not respecting the wrong person's credentials at the wrong time, might hurt your career. So credibility is defined as the quality of being trusted and believed in. So credibility is often a byproduct of authority and celebrity. When you have authority and you have celebrity, usually what comes with that is credibility. Now, you can achieve credibility in multiple ways, because credibility is all about people's trust and belief, neither of which requires tangible, provable abilities. Let me say that again. Credibility is about trust and belief from other people. See, authority is about your trust and belief in yourself, because it's about the way you present yourself and people believe in it after you set the tone. Credibility is about what other people think about you, their trust and belief in you. And again, somebody trusting and believing in you does not require that you have anything tangible or provable about you. It helps, but it does not require it. So think of your favorite reality stars, celebrities, or social media influencers. Or not even your favorite ones, just the ones you can think of. Do all of them have actual, tangible, and substantial skills? Some of them do, many of them have not much as far as actual, tangible, substantial skill. How many people have you heard of being called, oh, this person is famous for doing nothing, or this person has no talent but they're famous? Any of you ever said that about somebody, or heard that said about someone who was famous and they were very well known? Yes, of course you have. Why? That person has celebrity. That celebrity gave them status. That's how you know about them. That's why people are talking about them, even though maybe they don't have that much credibility on certain subjects. So companies will go and seek out these people who have status. Some of them are called influencers these days, and pay them to do marketing and advertising for certain products and services. Why? Because that celebrity's presence creates credibility. See, celebrity creates credibility, and that credibility can be traded on to sell products and services. So celebrity makes money move. Everybody heard that? Celebrity makes money move. So if you would like to make money move, one thing that can help you get there is becoming a celebrity in your space. People are willing to spend money when the reason to spend the money is because a celebrity is doing it, said it, showing up there, going to be there, it's their product, whatever it is. Celebrity moves money. So when one of the Jenner or Kardashian sisters, whatever their names are, puts out some makeup line and the makeup sells out in 30 seconds, why is that? Is it because the makeup is so amazing and it's just the best makeup ever in history? I doubt it. Now, I don't wear makeup, so I don't know the technicalities of it, but I bet most makeup is not that much different one from the next. They're not that much different. It's all the same stuff. But what makes one makeup sell out more than another one is the relative celebrity of the person who is selling it, or the entity that is selling it. So MAC Cosmetics, Estee Lauder, Maybelline, they're entities. They can sell a lot of product because of their name, their brand celebrity. And then you take an individual person. Rihanna has some makeup. Kendall Jenner has some makeup, or Kylie Jenner, whatever, whoever it is. They got some makeup and they can sell that stuff. Why? Because of their celebrity. So celebrity makes money move, folks. And the presence of a celebrity builds credibility and allows them to sell products. And remember, the credibility is fluid, meaning people can trust and believe in you one day and they can lose that trust and not believe in you the next day. What do we call this in our world today? We call it cancellation. Somebody can get canceled. Everybody believed in you yesterday. Now something came out. Now nobody likes you and everybody hates you, allegedly. Fake hate you, and your credibility is gone. So credibility is also relative, and this can also go in the opposite direction. You could be a nobody yesterday and be a somebody tomorrow. So credibility can come and go. Credibility is also relative to the audience. I could talk to a bunch of wannabe authors about how to write a book, and I have credibility with them. Why? Because I've written 33 books. I have instant credibility with that audience because of my credentials. You see how this works? But I cannot step into a room full of dentists and tell them how to make it through dental school. Why? Because I have no credentials in that space. I have no credibility with them, because they're like, well, what have you done that gives you the authority? You see how all this works? What gives you the authority to talk to us about how to make it through dental school? Well, I don't have any. So I probably wouldn't take that gig if somebody offered it to me. So my credibility level is different depending on what room I step into and who I'm talking to. So I need to be strategic as an expert as to what rooms I'm getting into, because I want to step into a room where I have authority, I have credibility, I have credentials, and maybe even a little bit of celebrity, maybe a lot of celebrity, because of who I'm talking to. Again, I can be a celebrity to one group, but a nobody to another group. So understand that you got to be strategic about where you go if your aim is to increase your status or to have instant status when you walk into the room, which makes it really, really easy to get your point across and also easy to influence and persuade people to action. So let's recap today's class. 3 ways to boost your status. Definition of status is a relative, social, professional, or other standing of someone or something. Point number 1, authority, defined as the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. All right. Similar to leadership, authority is not given, it is taken, and authority is assumed. You must step into a position of authority by looking at yourself in the mirror and believing that you are a person of authority. That's the only way anybody else will believe it. Authority is about you and what you see in yourself. It's not about what anybody else says about you. Number 2, celebrity, defined as a famous person. And remember, celebrity is relative. You can be famous to a room full of professional speakers, but a nobody in a room full of dentists, and vice versa. You can be the man when you go to the dental convention, but you're a nobody when you go to Walmart. So it depends on who you are talking to as far as your level of celebrity for most people. Now, there are some people who transcend the space, the room that they're in. There's just a celebrity, period. So who's somebody who's a celebrity, period? Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan. These are people that damn near everybody knows. They call that the Q rating. Everybody knows who these people are. And it doesn't matter what room they're in, they're a celebrity everywhere that they go for the most part. So celebrity makes money move. So keep that in mind. If you want to make money move, either become a celebrity or get a celebrity on your side. It will make money move very, very easily. Thing is, the celebrity probably charge you a lot for the privilege. And number 3, credibility, defined as the quality of being trusted and believed in. Credibility is often a byproduct of authority and celebrity. You are more credible because you are known and because you have this posture. Authority is about posture. And you can achieve credibility in multiple ways because it's about people's trust and belief, and you can lose it just as easily as you can gain it. So your credibility is different depending on what room you step into, so be strategic about where you go because you want to go somewhere where your credibility is high, which makes it very easy to influence, persuade people to do things that you want them to do. With all that said, text me so you can get my daily motivation message free of charge every morning. My number is 305-384-6894, and go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is where you get to work with me directly. Only place you can get coached by me, only place you can get my 2 physical mailings, the Bulletproof Bulletin and the Black Book, every single month straight to your physical mailbox. Yes, physical mailbox. All at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all